yeah, you have this expensive piece of paper that you just got from the University of Connecticut, but that's not the lifestyle that's cut out for you. So 2 years of just mentally beating yourself up over it, saying, yeah, this isn't your lifestyle. You're not cut out to fit this mold, was really, really tough on myself, which I didn't know at the time. Like you just described, there's always a yes somewhere down the line at the end of the tunnel. You just have to, like you said, find that right lid.
Hello, and welcome to Outer Spaces, a podcast dedicated to empowering designers and contractors in the outdoor living space. Through this show, I hope to create a powerful resource for you, someone who is trying to grow their company but might not have all the tools and processes to do so. On Outer Spaces, we're passionate about breaking the chains of small mindsets and helping contractors just like you take control of their businesses and their lives. My name is Joshua Gillow, and through my 25 years of dirt under the nails experience, I look forward to sharing tips, strategies, and other contractor success stories here on the Outer Spaces podcast. Now, let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Outer Spaces podcast. This is your host, Joshua Gillow here, and today I have Ryan King on the show, and he owns King Landscape Design. He tells his story about getting out of school and struggling for a couple of years, constantly being told no, and then finally getting an opportunity. And then once he had that opportunity, building the confidence to grow from $0 in revenue to being responsible for over $5 million in revenue a season. So his story is awesome. He's a great guy. And we share a lot about the entire sales process, working with clients and listening. Very important part. So if you're in, the landscape design build environment and you need a little bit of extra advice and or sharpening of your sword, this is the episode for you. Hey, Ryan, I'm so excited to have you here on the show today. We share a similar story when it comes to starting off and getting going in this outdoor living world and being designers and trying to cut our teeth out there and show the world what we're capable, the gifts that God put in us to then show and share them with the world. And I wanted to bring you on here today because I just think that, your story is amazing. And I know that it's going to inspire a lot of people out there listening, especially if they are outdoor living or landscape or hardscape contractors. So welcome to the show, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks so much, Josh. I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, dude. So why don't we just jump right into it? So tell us a little bit about how you got started and, tell us something about, those early days when you got started in the outdoor living design space.
Yeah, so when I first started out, I graduated from the University of Connecticut with my degree in landscape architecture back in 2014. And when I graduated, I thought I had it all figured out, thought it was going to be smooth sailing after graduation. I mean, I was extremely passionate about design all through college, had an incredible time. And then after graduation, started applying for various design jobs all across the state, and quickly found myself not getting too many calls back. A lot of people saw my resume as being a younger guy, fresh out of college, not a lot of experience. So just to get a call back for an interview, I found to be extremely difficult. And then I went on various job interviews. I thought they went phenomenal. Showed them my portfolio, everything, and once again, just wasn't getting the calls back like I was expecting. Mm-hmm. And started to just develop a little bit of frustration because here I am, fresh out of college. Me personally thought I had everything figured out, and no one wanted to just give me a shot just to see kind of what I had to offer. So 2 years actually ended up going by where we're just kind of going through the process and wasn't really getting any traction. So just started to develop a lot of frustration and kind of just started accepting the fact that maybe this is what it is. Maybe I'm not cut out for all the goals that I had set and all the ambition that I was looking to accomplish. But I actually ended up having one day where just a really, really rough day, a lot of frustration built up. And I figured, why not give it one more shot? Went home that night, went online, just Googled landscape design jobs, and I figured, let me give this one more shot, see what I can develop, see what I can find. And found this company out in South Windsor called the Baylor Brothers, and figured, why not give them a shot? Why not apply and see what happens? I had nothing to lose at that point. But I knew that I drastically wanted to make a change in my lifestyle because the past 2 years since graduation just wasn't headed in the right direction in terms of accomplishing the goals that I personally had set for myself. Um, so I applied to the Baylor Brothers out in South Windsor, Connecticut, and was pretty nervous just to apply alone because they were about an hour and 20 minutes away from where I was living. But I figured even if they wanted to just give me an opportunity, if there was a slight chance of it, that it'd be worth a shot because I had nothing else. So I applied, didn't think much of it just because of the past 2 years. And then sure enough, a few weeks later, ended up getting a phone call from Tom Baylor, who was the owner at the time. And he loved my portfolio, loved what he saw on my resume, and ended up calling me out for a job interview. So obviously I was super excited for the opportunity because I didn't get many of them over the past 2 years. And went out there, had a great interview with him. The only thing that had me nervous at the time was all the interviews I had. I thought went great as well. I thought I did a great job in all my interviews. So
Yeah.
so I left the job interview that day, obviously very hopeful to land it, but again, just over the past 2 years had a lot of doubt in my mind, not a lot of confidence at the time. So a couple weeks went by. One day I see my phone ring, instantly recognized the phone number, and got extremely excited because no one ever called me back. So I answered the phone. It was Tom again. He wanted to have me out for a second job interview. Obviously, super ecstatic at the time. Just an opportunity for me that I wasn't getting, and went out there for a second job interview. Sat down with them. They slid a job offer across the table. And what they didn't know at the time was it didn't matter what that job offer was. I knew I was gonna accept that job offer because this might have been the only opportunity that I get to really just kind of break free and head down this path of success that I was striving for. So I was just super ecstatic. Accepted the job, and shortly after started the spring of 2016.
I love that, dude. I love it. And you know what? As designers, it is really tough. I remember in the early days, I just got out of trade school. I went for architectural design, mechanical engineering, all that. It was a 2-year program. I was starting a business at the time. I was just juggling a lot of stuff. And, I got out. And the only reason why I even went was because my mother's like, you know what? I'd be the first in my family to go to any kind of trade school or college, right? The first. Yeah. She's like, you know what? This could be a good fallback in case, whatever else you have planned. And I had no plans, Ryan. I was working at my family's garden center. I didn't have a big vision of life. I was just coasting. I was like, all right, just gonna need to make money. I want to start my life. I want to do all these things. And so going to school was something that was a backup plan. In case everything falls apart, at least you got something, a piece of paper you can show somebody. And I remember coming out and saying, what if I mix this? And we started our outdoor design build company. What if we mix what I've learned there into this world, right? And in the beginning, to your point, you were looking for a job. I was looking for clients to say yes to me as well. Yeah. That's where our parallels line up here. And man, how many no's I was told. Yeah. I could write a book just on all the no's and all the inner dialogue that was going on. You're never going to be enough. Why the hell you keep doing this? Why do you keep trying? There's no point. This is not who you are. You don't come from the right stock. You don't, you didn't go to the big Ivy League school. You're not a landscape architect. That was a big one for me. You are, but I wasn't, right? And I was and if you don't have that degree, no one's going to hire you. That's why they're not hiring you. And man, those saboteurs were just running roughshod over my life. And I was like, man, I don't believe that because I know I want to add value and I can. I just got to keep hitting that wall until it breaks through. Yeah. And eventually we started just like you did with Tom, right? Eventually I started getting well, yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that. I'm like, oh, they said yes. Exactly. How many no's did I have to go through to get a yes? Holy moly. But it taught a lesson. And I hope this is the lesson that you learned as well, right? It taught this lesson that no matter how many no's you get, there's always a yes. Every no is one step closer to a yes, as long as you're coming from your heart and you're leading morally and all that good stuff, right? But when you're focused on helping people and you might get a lot of no's, it's not a no to you as Ryan or to Joshua. It's a no to your offer.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. It's not
Exactly.
personal, right? And
Yeah.
that's the thing. I would wire all of that internally as personal. Like they were saying, no, I wasn't good enough
Yeah.
or my skills weren't good enough. But no, it was just the wrong lid for the wrong pot. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not that they hate cooking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not
Yeah. Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So was that an experience that you had as well? Like, how did you manage all those no's as you kept going forward and kept the faith?
Yeah. So that's exactly it. So those 2 years after graduation, 2014 to 2016, I was going through that same process as you just described, just
Yeah.
constantly beating myself up saying, you're not cut out for this. Like, this isn't the lifestyle for you. Yeah, you have this expensive piece of paper that you just got from the University of Connecticut, but that's not the lifestyle that's cut out for you. So 2 years of just mentally beating yourself up over it, saying, yeah, this isn't your lifestyle. You're not cut out to fit this mold.
Yep.
Um, was really, really tough on myself, but which I didn't know at the time, like you just described, there's always a yes somewhere down the line at the end of the tunnel. You just have to, like you said, find that right lid. I obviously didn't know that at the time, fresh out of school. Um, but I'm extremely fortunate that I kept pushing forward because I could have easily just settled into that mold and just accepted my fate and kept plugging along, doing what I was doing, just not being happy every day. So
Yeah.
it just was which I didn't know at the time. It was just an amazing blessing that something in me kept telling me to push forward because there was
Yeah.
some light at the end of the tunnel that I was striving for, which at the time I didn't know what it was, but obviously now it's evolving into something incredible.
Absolutely, dude. But every one of those no's helped you become the man that sits here having this conversation right now. So,
Exactly.
listeners out there, if you're getting a lot of no's right now, it's part of the process.
Exactly. Exactly.
You don't get to skip this part.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
have, this is what teaches you how to learn. This teaches you what you need to be, either become or learn something within your personality. Maybe it's sales.
Hmm.
Maybe you just have a hard time communicating the value because everyone else is better than that at you. Because that's was always my thing. Everyone else must be a better salesperson than me. Like, what?
Right.
I must suck at this, right?
Exactly.
What? My designs are amazing. Why don't they work? And you know what the problem was, Ryan?
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to my clients. I was
Exactly.
telling them what I thought was best, not what they wanted. Did you
Exactly.
ever have that problem, right? It's like,
Yep.
no, I know better. I'm a designer.
Yeah.
You might have $25,000, but this $250,000 solution is so much better
Yeah.
than what you asked me for.
Yep. Exactly. And that's one of the interesting things that I've learned is when my first couple months at Baylor Brothers, when I was doing sales and design, I had no sales background at all whatsoever.
Yeah.
And my design background had nothing to do with outdoor living or residential design. It was all large college campuses, city planning, stuff like that they teach you in school. So I was going on all these sales appointments and I was talking the talk, explaining to them all the details about the construction process, the design process, everything. I thought I was selling these people and telling them all the right things, but once again I found myself everyone just telling me no, 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 and I was like, what am I doing wrong? I was like, I'm telling
Yeah.
everyone what they want to hear. I'm talking the talk. I'm telling them all the details they want to hear. And once again, I found myself everyone telling me no.
Yeah.
Um, and what I struggled with is I was getting flashbacks to the job application process. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
here we go again. We're going down this same road. And I was like, I got to change something, or else the Baylor brothers, these guys who gave me the opportunity, they're going to instantly regret it because I'm not fulfilling the job need that they have for me. And
Did you
then
ever feel like an imposter during that time? Like, oh my God, like I'm I'm in the wrong
yeah,
place. Like, what if they figure out that I don't know what the hell I'm
that's
doing?
that's exactly what I was thinking the entire time. I was like, these guys are going to
Yeah.
figure out that I really have no idea what I'm doing right now. Like I was just like I was like this if something doesn't change, this is not going to end well.
Yeah.
And one I'll never forget this sales appointment because this sales appointment stood out to me and I'll always remember it. I went out to this client's house and pull in the driveway. The lawn probably hasn't been mowed in over a month. There was trash barrels in the driveway overflowing with trash. And I was like, here we go. We're gonna spend another 2 hours with this customer, gonna draw something for them, explain to them the full process, and it's just gonna be a waste of 2 hours right out the window. And then as I started my process, I was like, hey, I'm just gonna give it my best shot, see what happens. And the customer said, yeah, all we want is a walkway. to connect to our patio in the backyard, and that's it. So I was like, all right, fine. I quickly sketched out a simple walkway, sketched out a very simple patio, and then was buttoning up my presentation, gave them their pricing, and right as I was about to leave, they said, okay, can we write you a check today? And I was like, in my head, I was like, write me a check. I was like, what's this guy talking about? Like, he wants to just buy this project from me? Like, no one was telling me yes. And obviously, I just played it off. I was like, yeah, write us a check for X amount of dollars, and we'll get you scheduled and get started. And what I realized was, as I was driving away, that was the first client that I actually listened to what they were telling me. I wasn't trying to wow them with some fancy presentation. I wasn't trying to upsell them on decorative sitting walls or lighting or landscaping. I simply sketched out a simple walkway, sketched out a very simple square patio in the backyard, and gave them pricing. And that's what the client wanted. They just wanted exactly what they had in mind. And that was it, which I was totally overcomplicating the process. And to this day, it's one of the biggest lessons that stuck with me is just take a step back and listen to what the homeowners need, or whoever your clientele, even if you're not in the landscape industry, listen to what the person's telling you, because they're giving you all the answers just to get that yes from that homeowner.
Dude, you can be more spot on when it comes to listening. And as men, that's a tough thing,
Yeah.
right? We think, because we got to come out and we got to be the professional, air quotes guys listening,
Yeah.
right? The professional out there, that we have to have this big, pomp and circumstance, and like, oh yeah, you might want that walkway back to that patio, but here we can do a water slide. We can run you through a tunnel.
Yeah.
We can have you come in from the side yard. You can jump over this, like all of these ideas, because we're designers. We love to create cool stuff, but all of those things that you're telling them that they would potentially benefit from.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with sharing your ideas. That's not my point
Yeah.
here. My point is, oftentimes we want it to be the way we want it to be, as opposed to listening and letting our clients guide us on really what they want. Because at the end of the day, Ryan, they're not just looking for a walkway and a patio. They're looking for what those spaces provide them emotionally.
Exactly.
Space for family to come together. It's a space that they can feel really proud of working hard for. Now they can finally own this. And maybe they're the first generation that has something like this in their backyard. So there's so many emotional connectors to this. It's not just about the pavers, the walkway, that whatever it might be, right? So actively listening when Mrs. Jones is talking or Mr. Jones are talking, and listening to what they have to say, and not being the first to talk, but being the first to listen. That is the secret to any good communication or sales. I mean, if that's the only thing you learned from this podcast today, and if you're the kind of person like I was, where I thought I had to go back and put on a show for them and tell them, like they said, we just need a walkway and a patio in the back. And I've had those exact clients, and I'm thinking like, sweet, there's going to be landscaping and lighting. Where's that water feature fit? Like, and I got this water feature. I saw it on House. It's like this massive steel structure. It's going to be so cool back there. And they're like, we don't want any of that. You didn't listen to me. Well, you just listened to what I want.
Exactly. And that's what I found too, is once I started to actually listen to these homeowners, and really just kind of absorb what they were telling me, then that's what was going to start developing the trust in our relationship. Because obviously the biggest thing you want to do with these people is the homeowners are going to be spending a lot of money with you in a luxurious business where you don't need a patio at your house. You don't need outdoor kitchen or fire feature. So if someone's going to write you a check for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars for this project, they're going to want 100% trust in you, and they're going to want to have a relationship with you where they can talk with you. They know you're not going to take advantage of them in terms of the money. So what I found was when I started listening to these homeowners' wants and needs, I was building this relationship with them, building the trust and the rapport, and then I could start expanding on the ideas I had. So maybe my first design with them was just that walkway and patio. But then as we developed that relationship, then maybe I showed them in a nice 3D design, a decorative sitting wall with landscape lighting on it, or maybe a water feature off the corner of their patio with some more lighting on it. So what I found is that when you're first going out to these appointments or first meeting with this homeowner, just like we're talking about, just taking your time, listening to their wants and needs, building that relationship, developing that rapport with them, and then start expanding on your ideas and really transforming that patio into an incredible outdoor living space.
100%. And I want to share with the listeners a way that they can, if they do nothing else in their sales process, a way that they can automatically connect with people and show a much better rapport and build trust faster than anything. It's a simple process. So when Mrs. Jones says something like, hey, I would really like to have a patio that I can sit back and drink coffee on a Sunday. And Mr. Jones says, you know what, I really would love to have, a barbecue area that I can sit with the guys and smoke cigars on Tuesday nights. And, then she says, you know what, I'd really like to have a fence in the backyard because it really helps keep my dog. And I worry so much about that little guy running off because the neighbor's got a big dog over there. And you write down those things as they're talking. And then you say, okay, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Jones, this, I know you're looking for that patio that you can sit back and drink coffee. I know that you're looking for that outdoor kitchen area where you can sit around with your buddies on Tuesday night and smoke cigars. And we definitely want to make sure we include that fence to keep little Fifi here from getting butchered by the neighbor's dog, right? Did I hear that right?
Exactly.
That alone will shift everything for you. Being that active, using their words and taking what we call it, basically take an inventory of their words, taking that inventory and saying, well, you don't have to write every single word they write down, but the idea, the context around what they're trying to explain, because using out of thousands or hell, millions of words they could pick from, they chose that frame of word to describe a picture in their mind. Exactly. They're trying to give you that picture. The chance of it being the same is almost zero. So we repeat that back to them. And then we say, look, if there's something in there that you don't fully understand, maybe it is about maybe the patio, sitting there, drinking coffee in a patio. Okay, what kind of furniture would you be sitting and drinking coffee out there? Oh, it'd be a nice club chair. Okay, that sounds good. And what are you looking at when you're, drinking your coffee? What do you want to be looking at? Well, I want to be looking at the sunset because it faces due west. Okay, perfect. Is there anything that blocks that now? No, there's nothing that blocks. Do you see how you're giving them the paintbrushes? They're laying out what they want, and you're listening. Do you think anyone else out there is doing that?
Right. Exactly. And that's a perfect point, because what I found, exactly like you said, is when that homeowner's talking, they're painting that picture, and what I'm doing is I have my iPad out or notepad out, and I'm just writing down every detail they describe, because like you're saying, I want to make sure I bring that up again just to reiterate it and let them know that I'm hearing what they're saying, but also so I have it written down. So when I get in front of my computer and start drawing it up, I know everything that I need to nail to hit their goals.
Yes, 100%. And when you can repeat back to them what they've said for you word for word in their words, there's nothing more personal. It's almost like using their name, right? That's another big one, just as far as rapport and trust building, to remember their name. And I struggle with that, dude. I struggle with names like really. I actually have to write them
same
down.
Here.
Like I'm glad this podcast thing has your name at the bottom, because I honestly would be like, Ryan, it's Ryan, right? But it's about being that present, and it's about making that a priority. Some people, it's really easy. They just remember names. It's not a big deal. Others have to actually work for that. And when they work for that, they actually have to, make it a priority, that it's something that they're actually going to do. So when they think, okay, write it down. Maybe you say it 3 or 4 times before you go into the meeting. Use their words, use their names, because that is such a powerful way to connect. And it doesn't have to be like, hey, Ryan, what do you think, Ryan? All right, Ryan,
exactly.
Good, right, Ryan? You got this, Ryan, right? You don't want to do that. It's like salt sprinkled here and there, just to make sure you pull them back in with their name. You will notice a physiological change. You will see a body language shift when you use their names in like salt here and there to bring them back into the conversation. So you've personalized that time. So these are such basic free details that will change the way you approach and interact with your clients.
And that's what I found too. I mean, I am, like you said, I'm terrible with names. So when I would go up to the homeowner and I've been talking to the husband on the phone or talking to the wife on the phone, and I shake the other person's hand, I don't even hear what their name is. So what I found is, as soon as they say their name, I just quickly make a little note on my notepad, and then we just continue on with the conversation, which, just so everyone knows, I'm not going on these appointments and remembering all these names. It's hard. So you just make a little note on your pad, and if you need to, glance down at it, and just, like you said, make it a natural conversation piece where you just bring up their name here and there.
Yeah, and when you write it down, you start to remember it. That's why taking notes in school or at a seminar is so important, because you're not just hearing it, you're actually writing it down. It's a whole different process in the brain. So you actually connect better with it. So again, little tips and tricks, listeners out there, that we've learned along this process in order to make a better, more connective, trust-based relationship. Because when people trust, know, like, and trust, right? When they trust you, there's a higher probability that they're going to have you do
Right.
something with them, that you're going to build a relationship that's strong enough to support an entire
Exactly.
project. Maybe it's 5,000, maybe it's 50,000, maybe it's
Yeah.
500 plus. Like it, but it all starts, we're all human. We have the same wants and needs when it comes to that. People want to be heard, they want to be listened to, all of those kinds of things. And if we're not doing that
Yeah.
currently, slow down. That's what I had to do. I just slow down and realize this is not the Joshua
Mhm.
show. This is about the
Yep.
clients, and really putting that ego aside, putting that pride aside, and focusing on how can I serve this client to the highest level of my abilities right now when I make it all about
Exactly.
them, not about me. I am here to listen. I am a
Mhm.
detective trying to crack the case. What is the best solution for this
Right.
client based on what they've told me? And I'm going to offer a bunch of different ideas because that's what they want me for, to solve the problem. But I'm going to make sure that they're a part of this dance too, and not just me out there
Exactly.
freestyling.
Exactly. And you said it perfect right there too, is solving the problem. The biggest thing is, and I don't even like to use the word salesperson or sales, because really what helped me transform my mindset is I'm not going out to these people to sell them on anything. I'm literally going out to their house to solve a problem that they have. They currently have
Yeah.
a bland backyard with nothing going on, so they want to transform that into a space where they can entertain their friends and family. So I'm not going out there to sell them a patio. I'm going out there to solve this problem where they currently have nowhere to entertain, and they want to create this beautiful
Mhm.
space that they can have friends and family over to.
That's absolutely true, and that's it, the whole context of what we do, right? It's not pavers and square footage and patios and seating walls. That's all the functions that get what they want emotionally, which is that space for
Yeah,
connectivity, right? And to be able to look at and be proud of what they're working hard for, it helps them deep down justify all those long hours and times they had to say no to their family because they can provide that swimming pool and that space that they can come together on a Saturday or Sunday, invite all their friends over and be like, look, all my hard work was
exactly.
worth it. It's right
Exactly.
here, right? My family can come together. I don't feel guilty anymore because I'm working so hard so I can provide this for
Exactly.
them. That's where we got to get into as designers. We got to understand the entire emotional driver
Yeah.
behind this. It is not more square footage of
Yeah, yeah,
shit in your
exactly.
backyard. It's not
Yep.
that at all. This is about having a space that they're comfortable in so they can entertain and they can expand their life as it is right
Yep.
now. So, Ryan, I'd love to go into, I know you started
Yep.
at zero, right? And you now are a lot higher than that on your sales
Yeah.
for the year. So I'd love to hear your story about how you go from, $0 in revenue in sales to well over, and I'm not even going to put the number
Yeah.
out there, it's a big number, how you got there
Right.
so fast and how you built the confidence to be able to do that. Because, I'm telling you, I know we both know how it is in the beginning when you're feeling
Yeah.
that imposter kicking in. You're like, man, this is never going to work. Who's
Yeah.
going to believe me? And then all of a sudden you start winning and you're like, holy crap, people are believing me. But that imposter
Exactly.
comes back and he's kicking the door down often. So how do you get past that and build the confidence to go out and sell as much as you do
Exactly.
a year?
So as I in 2016, still as I started to gain some traction, I started to look deeper into the whole process of when that phone first rings all the way out to when hopefully that customer is writing you a check. And as a company at Baylor Brothers, we sat down a lot and really zoomed in on the full pre-qualification process, how to provide that customer the best experience. Because even if they say no to you in the end, you still want that customer leaving like, hey, I had a great experience with Ryan or any salesperson at Baylor Brothers. You really want to make sure that that customer is still happy with what you provided them, even if they couldn't afford your service. So we started focusing first on the pre-qualification process. So rather than running right out to that customer's house as soon as the phone rang, we're like, let's take a step back for a second. We have all this technology at our fingertips, like Google Earth, GIS data. A lot of houses are still on Zillow or Realtor, so you can get a pretty good feel of that customer's backyard based on just the internet. So if a customer would call in, they say they wanted a patio, pool, maybe an outdoor kitchen, we could pull up their property online, get a sense of dimensions, the scale, what they currently had existing, if anything need to be removed. And then we could have a really detailed phone conversation with them. And I mean, these phone calls, they could be 30, they could be 45 minutes long. So when we're going to call a customer, we might say in the email, hey, when do you and your wife or significant other have 30 to 45 minutes to talk with one of our outdoor living professionals? Because we want to get a sense of what you're looking for. We want to give you ballpark pricing. We want to give you a sense of scheduling when we're booking projects for to see if that fits within your time frame. And overall, we just want to make sure we're a good fit for each other and we kind of jive and get along because we're going to be working together for a long time and exchanging a lot of money. So as we got into that process, we were having these phone calls and really just digging in deep with each homeowner. We would sit on the phone and first just let them talk, let them explain their full wish list. So they were basically selling themselves on this vision that they had for their backyard. As they started to elaborate on it, we'd be writing everything down. We'd be maybe even making some budgetary price numbers. So they wanted a fire pit. We'd write down X amount of dollars next to it. Kitchen island, X amount of dollars. So that as that person's talking and describing it to us, we can then provide them with rough preliminary numbers on what a project that size would be. Because a lot of people, they don't know. They're out there. They want these really nice backyards. So we want to educate them on how much it might cost them for a project that size, just so they're aware of it. And then once we start going through pricing, we then start talking about scheduling. Like we'll say, hey, Mrs. Smith, right now we're booking projects for 8 months out. Would that fit into your timeline? A lot of people, they want the project done tomorrow, which unfortunately you can't fit everybody in. But these are all just little things that we do that helps these homeowners understand the full process. And having a 30-minute phone conversation with them, a detailed phone conversation, is going to save a 2-hour on-site appointment if that customer is not a big fit for us. And the biggest thing that we want to make sure of is that when we were talking with these customers, we're really giving them a complete experience and educating them as much as possible. We don't want to just pick up the phone and say, hey, your project X amount of dollars, we're booking out this far, does that fit for you? Because that's just going to leave a sour taste in their mouth. They're not going to call you back. They're not going to tell their friends to call you. So the biggest thing is that pre-qualification process, just really educating that customer, because it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run.
I mean, you're exactly right, dude. And I found the exact same problem, years ago, trying to scale my outdoor living company, was the fact that I was going on a lot of calls and I wasn't getting a lot of them to turn into actual paying clients. Right. And I felt back in those days that if they called me out of 7.5 billion people and they called me, I had to go out. Right. If I said no to them, what would they say? They'd probably write me a bad review or some other bullshit I was working through. Right. So once I realized that was all not real, and I realized that by taking our time and going through a pre-qual process, right, actually taking them through, making sure they're a good fit, it's not only saving my time and my team's time, it's saving their time too. The customer doesn't want to waste time with someone that's not a good fit. I mean, if you're a fence installer and they want a backyard and you're like, well, maybe they want fence too, I'll go out and talk to them. And you spend a half hour talking about this whole backyard and you sort of say, I only really install fence, but I'm here to see if I can help you with something else. You've wasted your time. And I know it's a dumb example, but you wasted your time and you wasted theirs too. And now they're pissed off because they just spent all this time. They took off of work. They said no to something else to say yes to you. And now they have nothing to move forward with their problem, the solution to that problem. So it is so important to respect both sides, your time and their time. So pre-qualification is super important. Spending that time, in our Guest Express sales system, we talk a lot about the discovery call. And that's what you were alluding to, like spending 20 to 30 plus minutes in a systematic way of making sure that we're going to be a great fit, making sure the numbers line up. Right. To your point, like, hey, if they're saying fire pit, seating wall, patio, pool, whatever, we're writing down what that might cost and then having the budget conversation on the phone. Like, say, guys, look, this is going to cost you between 50 and 75,000. Will that work for you? And if they say, well, yeah, that sounds about exactly what we were expecting. Sweet. Let's go out and talk to them. But if you're sitting there thinking, or they're saying in their mind, because you're not having this conversation, because this is, again, how I used to do it. I did all these dumb things when I was younger. Anyway, I was like, I don't want to have that conversation around budget. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pretend like it's not a thing. And I'm just going to be like, yeah, we can do that for you. Go out. We'll do a design. It's only $500 for a design back then. That sounds good. Do it. And write, the check. I'm like doing a design. And I'm like, all right, guys, I'm so excited to show you this design. I've been working on it for a week. So I want to make this, this is just out of the park to the nines. It's amazing. Here's what it is. It's $125,000, but it has everything that you told me you wanted. And then I see the energy. I feel the energy in the room
Yep.
shift, the faces shift and contort, and they're like,
Exactly.
what?
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, we only wanted to spend
Yeah.
25,000. You're like, are you an idiot? Everything you asked for obviously
Right.
costs more than
Exactly.
$25,000. So why did you mislead me? Why did you tell me I'm the
Yeah.
victim now, right? That's what I'm playing now, right? Like, why did you mislead me? You asked for all those things. You obviously know what they cost
Right.
because I do.
Yep.
How many
Yeah.
times have we been through that, right? And then we got to stop and we got to think, you know what, Ryan? People only do outdoor living design or installation maybe once
Right.
or twice in a lifetime. How could they possibly know what these
Exactly.
things cost? They're flipping through Instagram and Facebook and they see these pictures and they assign a number to them based on
Yeah.
who the hell
Yep.
knows what, right? And if we don't have that
Right.
conversation early, if we don't have that conversation around budget, in that discovery call, before we ever put boots on the ground or spend their time or our time together, we don't have that conversation to make sure we're on at least in the
Right.
same ballpark. We're all in the
Yeah.
stadium
Yeah.
playing
Yep.
football, right? Instead of someone
Yeah.
showing up with a tennis racket. That's not
Exactly.
going to work, right? So let's have that conversation, make sure we know what sport we're playing and that we're playing
Yeah.
at the right level here. And then we can go further and engage and get deeper
Yeah.
into the relationship, making sure that it makes sense. But the budget conversation is something that so many, including myself, was like a snake kind of squeezed away from all the time, figuring if I could just show them a really
Exactly.
cool design, they're going to say
Exactly.
yes to it. And the problem is
Yeah.
most
Yep.
of them didn't.
Yeah.
That was over and over and over because I didn't realize back then, and I realize this now, but the clients are looking for three things in the beginning. Listeners, write this down. Three things.
Yep.
How much is it going to cost me? Who's going to build it?
Yeah.
And what's it going to look like? And not
Right.
exactly in that order. Everybody's different. But those are the three things they care about. So if in that call, you can get deeper into those three things, and when you meet with them, the same thing, then later on in the design,
Yeah.
you can show much more detail. But understanding, listening to the words, giving them a sense of what it's going to cost, you can, through words, explain what it's going to look like or show a portfolio or kind of look at this. This is kind of what this would look like. Are we on the same page? Then who's going to build it? Well, if you're the one building, you're standing there. If not, then start talking
Yeah.
about the crews that are going to build it. Those are the three things that are deep in their soul that they won't
Right.
typically ask, but
Yeah.
they need to have answered. And if your sales process is not answering those questions in a way that they can see the value in it for them, not for you, for them, you're going to be having a lot more no's than yeses. Trust me, both
Yeah.
Ryan and I have
Yeah.
realized this the hard way. We still have the bruises from all
Exactly.
that, but nobody taught
Yeah.
us.
And
How the hell
I
would
can't
we
tell
know?
you the number of appointments I've been on, and this is something we always joke around with at the Baylor Brothers office is we all think we're going to go out there and draw this incredible design and talk the perfect talk and just win this customer over. But at the end of the day, if the customer can't afford it, they can't afford it. So if you can still provide them top of the line
Yeah.
experience over the phone, and like you're saying, save
Yep.
their time, save our own time, all parties are going to be a lot more appreciative of it. But also, once you do land that appointment,
Oh yeah.
you're going to be even more excited because you already gave the customer pretty good pricing over the phone. They know what the scheduling is. So it's a very, very good chance you're going to land that job. So that's what
And how much more confident are you when you go out and engage a client after you've had a deep conversation with them? Because you know you're spending your time well and all of that. So how much more confident are you when
exactly.
you
It
go out
takes
there
it
and
to
meet
a
with
whole
them?
new level, whole new level. And
Yeah,
then one thing, so
100%.
we wanted to take
So,
that to the next level too. And at Baylor Brothers, there was four salespeople at the time. One of them was the owner, Tom Baylor. So we spent a lot of time on developing this process, having various speakers come into the office and just really trying to educate us so we could optimize our time, but most importantly, give the customer the best experience possible. One thing we did to take it to the next level is we're like, if we're going to go out to this homeowner's house, we want to provide them with as much detail as possible. We're going to provide them with a hand sketched design, labeled rough dimensions, all to scale. We're going to provide them with a complete price breakdown, material background, so they have an exact example of what their project's going to be. So we're like, we could do two options, and this is what we're having a conversation on the phone at the end of the pre-qualification process. We're telling them, hey, we can have you guys here into our showroom. We just remodeled the showroom probably 3 years ago now, I think. We have a brand new showroom, tons of outdoor features on display, tons of examples of pricing. We can sit down here at my desk. We can put together a design based off of satellite imagery and really just get in depth in the design process. Or we can come out to your house, completely educate you on the design that you're looking for. We're going to provide you with a design that day. We're going to provide you with material options, and we're going to provide you with a complete quote. On-site appointments take typically about 2 hours, but we do charge $250 to come out to your house. So then we were putting a whole new dynamic into the pre-qualification process. We were telling customers, hey, you can come to our showroom. We can sit down here for free. We can go over design options. You can see materials. Or if we come out to your house, we're going to spend about 2 hours with you, completely educate you on this process, and it's going to cost you money. So they're really putting kind of more skin in the game where they're going to say, all right, well, if we're going to have Baylor Brothers out to our house, we're going to pay for it because we already know the pricing of this project. We know the scheduling works. Why not pay that $250? It's going to go towards our project anyways. So then when we're meeting with that customer, it's almost a guarantee that they're going to sign on with us. And we found just an incredible increase in our closing ratio. But again, the biggest thing that I can't stress enough is you want to educate that homeowner as much as you can over the phone. So when they're talking to you, they feel like they're learning from you and getting information. They're not just calling someone who's too snobby to come out to their house unless you're writing them a check. You want to make sure that, hey, you're telling this client everything they need to know. You're answering all their questions. And that's why you're able to charge a premium for the service that you guys are offering.
Right. I mean, you're hitting on something that is so fundamental when it comes to a great trust relationship. And that's really what we're building, right? We're building trust. We're building rapport. Because when they trust you, there's a higher likelihood they're going to move forward, like I said before. So you're offering what's called a value first proposition, right? You're offering value before you're ever paid. Instead of it being like, I got 9 people to call today, so I'm just going to go through and say, hey, it's Joshua, what do you want?
Yeah.
That's Joshua, what do you want? 9 times. And hope like how somebody says, like, how about we first screen a bit in the beginning, see if they even want what we have, and then schedule a time, 20, 30 minutes or so with each one, and go deep with them. Possibly even send them out a questionnaire ahead of time to see if they want to put a little skin in the game. Are they just looking for a pulse? Is that what they're looking for in a contract, or someone with a pulse and a shovel, or are they looking for you specifically? Because there's a difference, right? If they're coming for Baylor Brothers or they're coming for Master Plan, they're coming because they like what they see or they've heard or whatever it might be. So now it's like, what's the process for me to get what I want, right? The end result. But if they're just looking like, I just want the cheapest price, or I just want another estimate for one of my 3 and put it in my portfolio and look at it, do you really want to be part of that? To figure that out early is important. So value first separates you immediately, because most won't. Most are just tired because they're owner managers, right? They're out in the field and they're doing the thing all day long, digging trenches, planting bushes, that kind of stuff, and coming home and trying to balance a family, trying to balance life, trying to balance all of those things. And then you've got this insatiably long list of other things you need to do, like phone calls and getting back to clients, and it becomes a thing. So, one of the first things that I had to figure out was, okay, what's my first hire? Right. As a designer, eventually when I left the design build and got into design manage, I was like, what's the first hire? I said, it has to be someone who their only focus is to take care of the customers, because I can't be there. I'm managing projects. I'm designing all that. So that's when I hired Becky, and she came on, and her main objective in the beginning is to just make sure every client feels like their family, and brings them in and gets that phone call right back. And we answer, because all of this, listeners, all of this, you can take that pencil back out again. Write this one down. It's all about setting expectations. You've heard me say it 100 times. If you can set an expectation with a client and deliver at or above that expectation over and over and over again, you immediately build trust. That's what they're looking for. When they're hiring or calling a contractor or someone to work around their house, their expectation of the experience is toilet. When it comes down to it, they're expecting junk. They're expecting somebody to yell at them, show up late, torn jeans. What do you want? That kind of mentality. So all you have to do to be different is to care. To care enough to say, look, I'm going to be there at 6:00, and you're there, and you don't have to dress in a suit. It's not the point. Go there clean. Go there like you actually mean and care. That you're going to give them a great experience. And if you're going to meet them at 6, be there 5 minutes early. Walk up, knock on a door, have a nice conversation with them, sit down and get the business, right? Setting those expectations. If you say that your consultation fee is $250, don't get to the door, get pissed off at the guy and tell him it's $500, or change stuff. Or if you told him what your design fee or deposit's going to be on the phone, and you get there and you say, no, it's going to be $2,500, whatever your number is, fill in the blank. And you get there, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, it's a lot more than I thought it was going to be. It's going to be $5,000 now. immediately their expectation was 2,500
Yeah.
because you gave it to them. And then you get there and you ask for a ton more. Now, if there's a good explanation for it, because, oh my goodness, no one ever said you're doing the front of the
Yeah,
house and the
exactly.
neighbor's house too, well,
Yeah.
then, yeah, that's going to be different. But
Yep.
in general, if you say
Right.
something, stick with it. Become a man or woman of your word. And you're going to find a lot more sales
Yeah.
immediately from that alone. Be there on time.
Yep.
Do what you say you're going to do. That's simple. It doesn't take
Yeah.
much more than that to build trust. So just be very aware of how many yeses you're giving people. And when you're giving them exact specifics like numbers or times, be spot on or better than them. That alone changes the game for you, because they're like, you know what? He wasn't the cheapest price, but he has been spot on. He said he's going to give me a proposal by Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
I got it by Friday. I wasn't calling him, chasing him down. Dude, you said Friday. It is Monday of the next week. Where is it? What do you think they're thinking in their head when you told them Friday? Because it sounded good, but you knew there's no way that was going to happen, or you forgot about life, because that gets in the way too, right? So if you can't deliver it, tell them it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday or following week.
Yep.
Just stick to your damn word. It's amazing how that simple fact will change everything. That's what people are looking for when they're trying to build trust with you. They're trying to figure out if you're lying or not. And the way you get rid of that problem is by not lying.
Yep.
It's pretty simple, right, Ryan? Just, I'm going to have it by Friday. You will get it by Friday. Now, if something crazy happens in your life, you call them on Thursday and say, guys, I know I promised this on Friday, but my cat died and I have this entire thing I got to do with the kids tomorrow. I will have this to you by Monday morning. That's okay. That's okay to do that. But don't tell them Friday and then, like, my cat died. I can't get this done. So I'm just going to wait till Monday. I don't want to call them and seem like a failure. So I'm just going to show up Monday with it or whatever. And they're like, well, dude, you said Friday. You've immediately lost trust, not gained trust.
And I can't tell you the number of times that customers have told me, yeah, I met with this other contractor. He never got back to me. He never sent me an estimate. He never sent me a design. He just disappeared. So that is just a tremendous, tremendous key point, where if you can deliver on the expectations that you're setting, or over promise, under deliver, over, what am I trying to say here?
I know what you would do even if you can't say it.
Under promise, over deliver. That's all I'm going for. But yeah, if you can meet those expectations and hit the nail right on the head, the customer, you're going to develop a level of trust with that homeowner that is just going to take you to the next level and make you stand apart from maybe the other landscapers that they're meeting with, or other designers that they're trying to meet with.
And you know what? And then price isn't the main focus anymore. And it's not for everyone, Ryan. We've all had these clients where the number is the number. For them, they would take the guy that never did this before because he's a nickel cheaper, because they have to win. For them, it's a price game. And you're never going to get around those people. They're going to be there. But our clients, the ones we truly want to work with, those are the people that see a value in relationships. They see a value in trust. They see a value in a certainty you bring into an uncertain world, because there's nothing certain about what we do. As soon as we break into the ground on any project, anything can pop out, right? So we're trying to bring certainty to an uncertain world. It's uncertain service, an uncertain industry, things that always go wrong in contracting. They're expecting that, right? So when it comes down to it, if you can be a man or woman of your word, you build trust. That trust automatically separates you and allows you to ask for the value that you truly possess, and not have to worry about cutting price left and right. So I could stay on this topic with you all day, Ryan, but I'd love to get to here quick before we wrap up. You know, you went from 0 to a number I alluded to before we never got there. And I'd love to have you tell the listeners, from someone who went through everything we just talked about for the last 45 minutes, to where you are now. Tell me a little bit more about, like, what your sales look like for the year, and how.
So last year I closed out sales at Baylor Brothers a little over $5 million. And that's annual sales, which really developed, like I was saying, through that pre-qualification process, building the trust with that homeowner, to getting out to their house, listening to what that homeowner is telling you. First, providing them exactly what they're asking for, getting that on paper, showing them what that looks like, and giving them pricing associated with that, so that you delivered on your promises. You gave them exactly what they're asking for. Now you have this great relationship with that homeowner. And then that's when you can start taking it into the next phase of design with 3D drawings, and really just blowing them away. So maybe your first 3D drawing is exactly what they asked for, but then maybe you show them another alteration where you have those bells and whistles on there to take their backyard to that next level. And that's where I've found just really slingshotted my sales upward because now I was saving a tremendous amount of time because I was pre-qualifying all of these customers over the phone. So I was taking what could have been a 2 hour on-site appointment and I was compressing it down to a 30-minute phone call to make sure that they're a right fit for me. And then once I had this relationship, then I could start developing these incredible designs and just really selling that homeowner on their dream backyard. Um, what I found
But you focused on
exactly,
relationship first, not a transaction, not a, hey, I got to get out there to, try to win this battle. You started with
exactly.
relationship and caring first, and there's a saying that we run by here at Master Plan. It's,
Hmm.
give them what they've asked for, but then
Yeah,
show them
exactly.
what they could have. And oftentimes the design lands
Yeah,
somewhere in the middle or on the higher side. So
yeah,
it's like, look, I heard you, but it wouldn't be right if
exactly.
I didn't
Yeah,
show you what
yep.
could be, right? And the next thing you know, the project goes up 10, 20, 50, 100% in value for the client. They're like, holy moly, I never thought that. I was just thinking of that
Yeah,
walkway and patio, like you mentioned earlier, but that sitting wall and fire
exactly.
pit would be really
Exactly.
freaking
And you
cool.
don't need to overwhelm the client all at once, too. You might, a perfect example, well, kind of perfect example, but a little bit of an outlier. Last year, I was working on a project, went out to this customer's house. They wanted a small swim spa, patio, retaining wall. And I delivered exactly that, gave them exactly what they needed. They wrote me a check that day while I was sitting with them. At that time, we were booking 12 months out. So we had plenty of time to work through the design with this homeowner. So a few months passed, just touch base with the homeowner as I was developing their design. And the project kept evolving because I was very casually showing the customer different add-ons that they could add, maybe a louvered pergola or maybe an outdoor kitchen with a bar, water feature, stuff like that. And just really taking my time with it, explaining to them each feature and how it could transform their space. And that project, that the original contract was 75,000, ended up growing to over $450,000 based on a very easygoing, trust building relationship where we just slowly developed this design. If I went to that homeowner,
You hard sold them, right? You
exactly,
went in there and
yeah,
said, you need to have this. You have to
exactly.
have this. You have to
Because
have
if,
this,
if
right?
I
That's
went
what
to
you
that
did, right?
homeowner the first day with a $450,000 contract, they probably would have just fell right over in their
Yeah.
driveway and I never would have heard from them again.
Because you let
Exactly.
them build the project. You were the hands. You were the detective to figure out what they wanted. In their mind, it was this,
Exactly.
but what they really wanted was that. And we're here to
Yep.
guide them. That's all we ever are as guides, right? So we guide them. And
Yeah,
sometimes it grows and sometimes it shrinks. At the end of the day,
exactly.
it's what's best for the
Yeah, it's
client.
really building that trust and just once you have that trust, then you can start exploring different avenues to really show them the maximum potential of their backyard.
Absolutely. Well, Ryan, we got to
Yep.
wrap up here, but I have a question for you. So if I was, what kind of, I'm trying to frame this in a way that makes sense. So if, what advice do you have for any young designers or designers out there that might be struggling right now? That maybe it was wisdom that was, given to you or something you learned along the way, something that really shifted it for you. Is there something that comes to mind that you can speak into our
Yeah, so
listeners that are
for
listening now?
wisdom, I mean, I had I had an incredible opportunity to work for the Baylor brothers, so I had these incredible mentors above me. I mean, a lot of people across the U.S. have heard about the
Mhm.
Baylor brothers. A lot of people know Phil Baylor with Pave Tool.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I just had really just this
Hmm.
tremendous network around me every single day that I could reach out to with questions. If I was designing something, but I wasn't sure how it was actually going to be built, I could reach out to Josh or Steve or Phil to figure out how it would be constructed, or if pricing was something I was
Hmm.
struggling with, or logistics on how something might work on paper, I could reach out to Tom and really get some good feedback. So I really had a tremendous network all around me every day. So what I would tell people is don't ever hesitate to reach out to other designers or contractors. I mean, we're so blessed to have the social media all around us every day where I could reach out to someone in California right now with just a couple clicks of a button if I had a question about something. So always
Yeah.
if you ever have a question, just always reach out to other people. There's so many contractors in this industry that are willing to help. Um, you could have a conversation and just really develop a relationship with someone who might be all the way on the other side of the country, and you guys could bounce ideas off each other to learn from one another on your downfalls or your hardships. So definitely always reach
Yeah.
out. I mean, message other contractors that are similar to your size. message other designers. Just take advantage of all the resources you have right at your fingertips.
No, I love that, Ryan, because so often, in this world of contracting areas and even just being a man in general, we feel like an island, right? We feel like we've got to figure it all out ourselves, and then we beat ourselves up when we don't, or we feel like we're not smart enough or whatever it might be. And I found all that to be bullshit, but I thought that for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's when I finally started reaching out to people and started saying, my biggest question was, man, why would they talk to me? I'm nobody. Why would they talk to me? And the crazy part, dude, when I finally got over that bullshit and I started to talk to people, the next thing you know, that it's like, no, the ones that are truly winning, the true winners are like, you know what? I can't wait to give back. I want to teach others what I've learned,
Exactly.
right? It's the whole give back, each one teach one mentality, right?
Yep.
And our goal is to grow so we have more to give. And that's what a true mentor, like the Baylor brothers, incredible family.
Yeah.
They just want to give. They just want to help. They just want to pour their knowledge into other people. And you know what? Most of them will do it for little or no money. They just, it's not about that for them. For them, it's like, well, maybe I can help that young man or that young woman, go through life a little less bouncy than I did because I can teach them something, right?
Yep.
But you're exactly right. Mentors and coaches and others in our industry, there's just such a treasure trove of information that we can all, and thank goodness to your point about social media, because we have access to people we'd never have access for just geographically. We can just type it in and go.
Yeah.
So if the listeners out there, if you have somebody that you see on social media or that you're just struggling with something that you see that they've kind of figured out, reach out to them.
Yeah.
Hit them up on Facebook Messenger, Instagram, whatever. You're going to be surprised. The right ones, the ones that are truly out to help people, are going to respond. They're going to feel it's a privilege to respond to you, not that you're a burden to them. It's a huge difference. So
exactly. And that's what I tell contractors all across the US too, because when I'm talking to various contractors for my own company, King Landscape Design, and we're going through the full process, just like we've been discussing, even if that contractor can't afford the services that I offer, I always tell them, if you guys ever have questions when you're on site or meeting with the homeowner about design or the sales process, message me anytime. We can chat, we can text, we can email, phone calls, anything that I can do to help repay all the mentors that I've had around me. I just want to give that back to other people, because not everyone has the opportunity that I was blessed with. So I want to make sure that I'm able to give that back to other people who are maybe in my shoes right now, and they want to kind of go down their own journey.
I love it, dude. I love it. So how can people find you, Ryan?
So people can find me on Instagram at King Landscape Design, Facebook at King Landscape Design. Feel free to message me anytime. My email's on there as well. So if you guys ever have any questions, you can reach out anytime, and I'm pretty quick to respond back.
I appreciate that, Ryan. And guys, take him up on that. Ryan he's come a long way. He's out there killing it, changing a lot of lives, changing a lot of backyards. And he's actually going to be speaking this year at Outdoor Living Mastery here in Morgantown, Pennsylvania in February, late February this year. So if you haven't seen that event, you can go to outdoorlivingmastery.com and you can take a look at that. He'll be speaking there on this exact topic and sharing with you guys some of the different processes they go through in order to make sure they get the right client and exactly how to listen to them to get that design just right. So Ryan, I appreciate you coming on the show today, and I appreciate
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And appreciate you bestowing all your knowledge on us as you've grown. And listeners out there, don't be afraid to reach out. I mentioned it before. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody, whether it's Ryan or myself or someone else that you've been watching on social media. Reach out. And if you've got a question or something that you've seen them solve that you have the same problem, you're going to be surprised by how many are actually going to respond and help you. We've got an incredible industry, incredible group of people who are just salt of the earth, wanting to help each other. You're always going to have some of those trolls online that are going to try to be idiots. That they're always there. They're everywhere,
they're
right?
Always
but
there.
My point is, they're a minority. They just seem louder. The majority of people are just incredibly gifted and incredibly helpful out there. So don't be afraid to reach out. So guys, thanks for listening this week, and we'll talk to you next week again.